Gulsen Ucarkus is an assistant professor of earthquake geology at Istanbul Technical University. She joins us now live. Thanks so much for taking the time. This quake produced 97 aftershocks in the region. 20 of them, we're getting reports now, were over a magnitude of 4. In a country that's somewhat used to earthquakes, how big was this?
As you know, Turkey is located in a very tectonically active region. But this earthquake, the magnitude 7 earthquake, happened in the Aegean extensional tectonic region. As you know, Turkey is also surrounded by other large faults like North Anatolian Fault, East Anatolian Fault, and these fault systems are actively producing large earthquakes. But this came a little bit as a surprise, as a magnitude 7 earthquake. But this region is already seismically active. It was already there were earthquakes around magnitude 5, 5.5, and as you remember, in 2017 there was another 6.6 earthquake in offshore Bodrum. So we are actually used to these earthquakes, and when there's a large earthquake like this one, it's normal to have such number of aftershocks, and these aftershocks will last for the next month.
Okay. Wow, that's nothing positive then to look forward to if the aftershocks are still to come. Can you tell us, so I noticed you said, we've heard this discrepancy now that there's a reading of 7 magnitude earthquake, but other reports are saying 6.6. Does it make a difference once you've hit this level, and why the discrepancy in the first place?
When a large earthquake like this occurs, it's recalculated. But currently, USGS gave it as 7.0, Kandilli Earthquake Observatory gave it as 6.8, and other European centers are measured this as also magnitude 7. So probably the 6.6 is coming from AFAD. If it's recalculated, it can increase.
Okay.
This is normal.
Okay. Let me ask you, you mentioned Bodrum, which was hit a few years ago. We even saw that same kind of mini tsunami there. Istanbul, about a year ago, if I'm not mistaken, had a smaller quake that we actually felt right here in this office. We had to evacuate. We've heard people say, I was corrected on this before, but I want to hear you tell me as well if this is also the line of thought, that these earthquakes somehow release pressure. So instead of having one gigantic quake, you might have several smaller ones which are more manageable. Is there any truth to that?
It's not quite correct to mention it like that. This is, like magnitudes are different. A magnitude 7 earthquake, the energy released by a magnitude 7 earthquake and a magnitude 5 earthquake is completely different. There are like thousands of atom bombs difference between these earthquakes. So by producing like number of magnitude 5 earthquakes, you cannot release the energy that will be released by a magnitude 7. But it is true, there was a 5.8 earthquake in Marmara Sea last year. And as you know, we are also expecting a large earthquake on the North Anatolian Fault within the Sea of Marmara. And this earthquake that happened offshore Izmir is also like an example that what would we be facing if another earthquake of such a magnitude would happen offshore Istanbul.
Okay.
So tsunamis is expected, and there was like probably a half a meter of a tsunami wave, I guess, observed in Samos Island. And tsunamis occur when there's a vertical movement in the water column due to the fault movement.
But in other words, you are saying that everyone needs to be prepared, because the big one we have heard about, especially in Istanbul, is still likely to come. The last one here was, of course, back in this epicenter was Izmir, not far from here, back in 1999. What do you want to see in place in a city like Istanbul right now so that damage is minimized as much as possible if a big earthquake hits?
Of course, the governmental officials are working on such preventions. Earthquake risk determination and assessment is very important. It's very crucial. As you know, for Istanbul, what we are expecting is a magnitude 7, minimum magnitude 7.2 earthquake, because this is North Anatolian fault. It's completely different. The number of earthquakes it has produced in the last 100 years, starting from 1939, there were like 8 magnitude 7 earthquakes that ruptured along the North Anatolian Fault. So the next earthquake is now awaiting south of Istanbul, offshore in the Sea of Marmara. So what we need to do, we need to be prepared for anything that we are observing right now, what's happening in Izmir, right? Like tsunamis and collapsing buildings and, the mobile phones that we cannot use, and all sorts of things are expected when a large earthquake like this occurs.
Are we prepared? I mean, we heard the woman that had just suffered through this earthquake in Izmir saying she really felt lost because she didn't even have the basic knowledge as to what to do in case of an earthquake. Do you feel, the 14 million people in this city of Istanbul, for example, that might have to face a 7.2 magnitude earthquake in the relatively near future, do you think they're prepared both educationally and structurally? Is the city ready?
I can't say we are, because there needs to be educational programs to prepare the public for an earthquake like this, because there are many side effects of earthquakes, not only tsunamis or so, it's also like fire. Fire is another disaster that can take place during earthquakes. So we actually need to educate the public better. Since Turkey is an earthquake country, it's not only in the Aegean region, it's everywhere that these faults crosses. All the cities that are neighboring these fault systems has to be prepared educationally.
Okay, just tell us quickly what you want to see done right now.
Right now,
yeah.
Wow. Right now is very quick. It's very quick. Right now, of course, what we need to do, we need to help all these people who are suffering from the earthquake damage. People are struck under the buildings, I guess. But right now, we need to increase our awareness of earthquake disaster. We need to do more. We need to do, like right now, actually, at the university with our colleagues, we are trying to be in touch with our Greek colleagues so that we can go offshore and start doing a research and to observe what happened at the seafloor, because this earthquake south of Izmir, that took place at the sea bottom. So we need to observe the earthquake rupture, and as a scientist, I'm expecting to collaborate with our Greek colleagues on that.
Okay, good to hear. Gulsen, Ucarkus, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for
welcome.
sharing your insight and your knowledge with us. It really is appreciated.